We love making art super accessible to everyone. So all you'll need for this painting is a canvas and craft paint, a flat brush, maybe a 3/4 of an inch or an inch is wide enough to cover the background, and a fan brush. All these items can be found at dollar stores, Walmarts, Michael's. So it is extremely easy and super cheap to do these types of art. For this painting, we are doing a forest, and we will only need 4 colors: yellow, light green, dark green, and black. Starting with the yellow, we're going to start painting the very top of the canvas. With craft paint, you don't have to worry about the consistency of the paint because it's already kind of watered down for you. We're using acrylic paint, so they dry up super fast, but they don't wash off. So please make sure you are dressed for a mess. Now, we are going to blend the background colors together. So starting with the yellow, I'm going to go about 1/3 of the way down. You'll notice that I'm painting my edges and the top of the canvas, cover all the sides of your canvas. And then when you're about 1/3 way down, you're going to dip your brush into light green and start going back and forth, left to right, into the yellow until the green kind of starts disappearing into the yellow. I'm going to take up some more green and bring it down a little bit. Painting my edges as I go. Now what happens if the paint did not blend in well together? Scoop up some yellow and go back over where the 2 paints meet. And just go back and forth until the paint blends in. You can keep doing this process until you're happy with it. And we will demonstrate it again for the next color. All the way down, about 1/3, 2/3 of the painting down with the light green. And we are going to use the dark green. Dip your brush into dark green, go over the light green. One more time, going up until it blends into the green, the light green, and then start going down, dipping your paintbrush every time, go down, and then up, and then all the way to the bottom. Again, if you're not happy with how they blended, you can always dip your brush into light green and go over where the paints meet. One more time, back and forth until the 2 colors blend together. Now, don't forget your sides. It's a bit tricky to get the bottom. You can always get it at the very end of the painting. Once it's dry and you lift it off your easel or your table, you can always get the bottom. For artists that are used to using artist grade paint, this craft paint is a little bit challenging because you have no control over the consistency of it. So feel free to use artist grade paints. Just make sure you are mixing it in the right ratio. And it consistency you're happy with. Once you're done with the background, let it dry. Good chance to wash your brush. And we will be switching to a different brush. Now for the fan brush, we're going to start with the first layer of our trees. We're going to start it with the light green. This is a fantastic practice run. First step is we're going to paint a little hill here by dabbing the brush. Going down, and then dip your brush. By turning your brush on a 90-degree angle, you can make very thin lines using a fan brush. Start from the bottom, go all the way to the top, and then go over your lines one more time. You can add as many or as few trees as you want. I love that my paint is kind of mixed up with the dark green here. Thin lines, thin lines, thin lines. Getting the top of the canvas as well. Dip your brush. Go over your trees. Now spread the trees a little on the bottom. And back up. And now I'm going to add some grass around the trees by dabbing this brush. The fan brush is one of my favorite brushes because you can create so many things with it. You can create texture, grass, foliage, leaves. And by dabbing it up, you dip your brush on the tip of the brush with the paint and slide it up like that. You're creating grass. Then I'm going to turn it on an angle again and fix any tree trunks. Next, we're going to add some leaves to the trees. Now, these are kind of like lower branches on the trees, so there's not a lot on there. So I'm just going to dab my fan brush, just the tip of it. Just the tip of it. Okay, time to wash your brushes, wipe them clean. Make sure your fan brush is not clumped together after you've cleaned it. Fan it off again, fan it out. And the next layer is going to be the darker green. So mix in a drop of the dark green with your lighter green. To make a middle tone. And we're going to repeat the same steps again. I'm going to start with a hill. tilt your brush 90 degrees and add trees. Now, if this is too hard for you to do with the fan brush, you can always switch to a round brush for this specific step, just to get the tree trunks. More grass. And the top of the canvas. Now, if you notice that these trees are a little thicker than the ones behind them, and that is because they are getting closer and closer to us. And the closer they get, the bigger they will seem. So we're going to make each layer a little bigger than the next one, a little thicker on the tree trunks. And now for the leaves. Dab your brush. This painting is easy enough for kids of all ages and grown-ups, but the kids are probably going to get better results. Don't be insulted. Next up, another layer, dark green. I'm going to add the outline of my hill down here. Make sure that you're angling your grass in every which way, not just up, 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 because then it doesn't look very realistic. You want to cut the angle. And now the trees are getting thicker, so you can push down on your brush a little more as you do this step. And the thicker they get, the less number of trees you're going to need. And let's put one more right there. It's okay if they cover the back trees. Remember we said they were kind of like a practice layer for us. And more grass, darker paint, another layer here, grass, another layer, and grass. this one around the tree trunk a little bit. Grass. And grass. Now we need to add leaves. Just dab your fan brush. Bigger leaves. Dab your fan brush. I have done this painting with ages 4 to 25. And everyone has had beautiful results with it. Craft paint can sometimes be a little transparent, so you might need to give it a minute to dry and just go over it one more time. And now for the last layer. You do not need to wash your brush when you switch to black, because it's just going to take over, and a hint of green on your brush will actually work better. Now the last layer, you got to be very careful with this one because the black is very unforgiving. This is our silhouette layer. The light is coming from behind all the trees. The ones in the back are faded because they're far away from us, but the ones closer to us are darker. Work the grass all the way from the bottom of your canvas. Make sure that you're angling it every way, up, side, side, up, side, side, up, side, side. And like I said, we can get the bottom of the canvas at the very end when it dries. Trees. This time I'm feathering the tree trunk. And then up with one thin line. And I will thicken it little by little. Next tree trunk. You're starting with a V shape on the upside down V shape on the bottom. Bring up a thin line all the way to the top. And then make it a little thicker. Little thicker. Next tree. Upside down V. And then drag your line up. And then make it thicker. And one last tree, upside down V. Drag it up. Make it a little thicker. Now before you start putting the leaves on, dip your brush in your lighter green. We're going to add a little bit of light to our trees. So I added a little more light green, dipped my brush, I didn't wash it, I didn't wipe it. All that black and dark green is still on it. And I'm just going to add a thin line of light. Just to show the tree bark. You can do this with the fan brush, but if you don't feel comfortable doing that with the fan brush, you can always switch to a round brush. I'm just adding a little more black because the light green was too much. And there we go. Just a thin line. Blend it in a little. Thin line. Oh, too much. Add a little black. Back into it. Last one. Thin line. And blend it in a little. Now with the light green and a little dab of black, I'm going to add some lighter grass. Just to give a little depth. And now to add the leaves to the tree. Dab, 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 dab. And your forest is done.